Piers and say, see how bad that is? Great argument, genius.
No,
what a wonderful argument.
What's the point
you
of
haven't
having
responded to his argument, so clearly it's pretty good because you have zero
That
response.
was the argument. Do you understand? Do you understand that I can take things that are happening socially, point to the worst of them, even if I don't agree with them, to use that as an example of why it's bad? Why thing bad? Thing bad because look, you can see that why thing bad. Do you not? Why do you not get this?
Right now, you're crashing out. Right
This is an extreme example.
They never liked abortion. They never did.
This is whether you like abortion, whether you support abortion or
young man is because it's not impressive. It's impressive when men can bang young women because most men can't bang young women, but most older women can bang young men. So it's just not an impressive accomplishment. Of course, these are the same women who will screech because, Leonardo.
Real quick, I always like looking at Piers's reaction when Andrew talks. Someone in the comment section says that Piers, they feel like Piers has Andrew's on because Andrew says the things that he wants to say but can't. And I agree with that. Like, I think Piers is a fan of Andrew.
DiCaprio decides that he wants to change up, at 25 years old, any of the broads he has hanging around. But this is not an impressive accomplishment. All a woman needs to do to get laid is go somewhere where there's men and offer it up. It's not the case for men. So it's an unimpressive accomplishment on its face. As to the rest of what she's saying, this is just normal tripe, right? Her kids are the ones who are going to get punished. They're always the ones who get punished. We can look at the data for outcomes on children who are raised in single mother homes. It's not good. It's not good for their mental health. It's not. And by the way, the rates of abuse from having strange men around skyrocket. Terrible idea. And it's exactly the wrong kind of propaganda to be pushing.
All right, Taylor Lorenz.
Yeah, more stuff from degenerate Hollywood, from the demon-filled Hollywood, because Charlize Theron, I believe I heard, has like 2 children that are trans. Yeah.
Isn't it just a factual reality of life that women are predominantly happier with a man by their side and children are predominantly better off in life with a present father?
I think, listen, children are better off in life when they have a loving household, and not all of those households have fathers. I mean, there are lesbian parents, there are, different types of arrangements. I think it's important for kids to have different figures in their life who they can look up to. I think it's really important to expose kids to all different types of figures, but that doesn't have to be, like a man, a cisgender man that's standing around all the time. There's plenty of terrible fathers out there too. So, I think it's great that the child is growing up in a loving household, and hopefully, she'll expose the child to lots of different types.
Yeah, but can you acknowledge that we have now been studying this phenomenon of single motherhood for years and years and years, and that the outcomes for children of single mothers tend to be terrible in comparison to the outcomes of children without them? Can you just acknowledge that that is true?
So I think what you're talking about are studies.
I'm asking a question. Don't run from the question. Yes or no? I want you to acknowledge with a yes or no, then a qualifier. Yes or no? Isn't it true that outcomes for children when they're raised by single mothers tend to be worse than those with a mother and a father in the house? Yes or no? Then give me your answer.
So I'd love to respond if you stop talking over me.
Go ahead.
Anyway, most single mothers are not Charlize Theron.
See, all she had to say was, no, it is not true, Andrew, and here's why. If she disagrees with Andrew, all she had to say was no, and here's why. Or, yes, that might be true, but she doesn't. She doesn't answer any questions. She's not answering this question. All he wanted was an answer no, a yes or no, and then a qualifier, but she can't do that.
With millions and millions and millions of dollars. So when you look at studies like that, a lot of it has to do with the economic opportunities that a lot of single mothers have. Women make less than men as a whole. They're subject to more sexism and discrimination. So it can often be more challenging for them to raise a child alone.
So the answer is yes?
Yeah, so the answer is yes.
No, the answer is Charlize Theron.
It sounds like you just said that the answer is yes. The answer, according to you just now, is yes.
No, any single
and then you just
parent,
make excuses for it. You're like, yes,
Taylor, this is
because
not
women are oppressed.
Right now. This is so weird.
Because women are oppressed.
Like shouting at me.
Pretty much, it's always like, oh, but my female oppression. It's always coming from this lens of, yeah, but it's because evil men.
Do you know what it is?
Okay, let's bring. Hang on, time out. Let's bring in Jedediah.
Taylor, this is not rocket science. First of all, you lost me at cis male. You just need a guy, just a man, right? We don't need all these terms, these nonsensical, ridiculous terms that, modern leftists have come up with. It's just a man. Children do.
Yeah, this lady she won me over when she said that.
Better when there is a mom and there is a dad. And the reason is that men and women are completely different. They bring very different things to the table. And children need the role model of a mom and a dad, not just people around. Sure, you can have aunts, you can have uncles, you can have friends, but we're talking about the two individuals that are raising children. And let me just ask you this question. Wait, I'm not done yet. You complained that Andrew interrupted you, and now you just interrupted me. I'm not done yet. Charlize Theron, you're right. She is rich. She has a ton of money. But what example do you think she's sending to young women everywhere that this is somehow empowering, that you should strive? By the way, you should strive to be the single mom because you don't have to deal with a guy. You don't have to answer to a man. Oh, isn't that so wonderful? And guess who'll pay the price? My kid. She even says, my kids can tell their story. How unbelievably selfish of her to say, my children will one day to get to tell a story that they had no father because I decided that I just wanted to do this myself. Me, myself, and my money. Is that the message? I
wanted to go hump 26-year-olds.
They're lesbian. They shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is because the interviewer asked Charlize Theron, well, what about your children? And Charlize Theron was like, well, that's going to be their story to tell. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure once they're adults, they're going to have some stories to tell. And Charlize Theron, she's not going to like it.
Raise children, you need a man. What about women that raise children?
We're not talking about Taylor. No one said what should
about
be
single
allowed.
moms.
I'm not talking about.
Well, tell me what I find strange. What I find strange is I know Charlize a bit when she was dating Sean Penn, and thought she was very nice, but she was always very.
Look at Piers Morgan here. Oh, I know Charlize Theron a little bit. Yes, we used to hang out.
Elegant. If you interviewed her, her whole thing was high end, elegant. All the highest end advertising and so on. And then you see her there in this podcast, and she's like effing and blinding, talking about banging 26-year-olds. Very, very different, Ernest, to the Charlize Theron I thought I knew. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or whatever, but I do wonder if it was a male movie star sitting on a sofa, brazenly boasting about banging 26-year-olds. How old is Charlize? 50. If a 50-year-old male star was boasting about banging 26-year-old girls, right, and he was boasting about not needing a woman in his life, not needing a mother, all these kind of things, but in reverse, I don't think you'd be approving of this, Ernest. Tax day has passed, but for millions of Americans, that's where the trouble begins. The IRS.
So what is this for? What is this? Tax Network USA? If you love paying your taxes, then go to Tax Network USA Inc. Do not go to Tax Network Britain Inc. because, well, we don't exactly have a great history in taxes. A whole country was founded on our taxes. So go to do it on Tax Network USA. It's the best place to pay your taxes. Make sure you pay your taxes.
In interviews, it's not actually an uncommon thing. I think the reason why there's a lot of actual shock and awe over Charlize Theron because a lot of women actually her age don't feel the liberty to do that on a public facing platform. And so that's why we're talking about her. We don't talk about men who do it often on here because it's so norm. I mean, if you look at who's in politics currently right now, they were just doing it their entire career before they got to the White House. So it's not that much of a shock. There's a guy who got elected president.
Yeah, and you screamed bloody murder about it.
And got elected. And so
and you screamed bloody murder about it. What are you talking about?
Always about my orange man bad.
You liberals.
Oh, but look at what Donald Trump said. Always about orange man bad.
Said that.
By the way, Trump was joking around where Charlize Theron was being serious.
That was the most horrible thing. He was a terrible role model. How could he? And here Charlize Theron is saying this, and you're like, she's an empowered boss babe, Andrew. Come on.
See, if I talk over him, Piers would tell me to be quiet and
you were done talking, dude. You were done talking.
Come on,
no, I wasn't done talking. Actually, can I actually?
Oh man,
you can, Ernest. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So what I was getting at is that there is a double standard, and I think honestly, like I said before. I don't know what liberal he's talking about, but I was not a liberal that said that Trump talking about grab her by the pussy was the worst thing he ever said, because there's a lot of other things he has said that I believe is far worse and actually should cause more attention. But that being said,
Look at this stupid book. Did he write this? Ernest Owens, The Case for Cancel Culture? Oh, geez. Oh, geez. It's funny because he's saying like, well, I'm not one of the liberals that said that what Trump said was the worst thing ever. But yet, look at this book right here, The Case for Cancel Culture. Ugh.
I just feel like the only reason why we're talking about it is because women like Charlize Theron often don't do this on a normal. So it feels abnormal, and that's why we're discussing it.
Okay, Andrew.
So even if what he said was 100% correct, it's not. But even if it were, the fact of the matter is, if it were Leo DiCaprio, like, okay, if you switch the scenarios around and switch Charlize Theron's lifestyle with Leo DiCaprio's lifestyle, and Charlize Theron was sleeping with a bunch of 25, 26-year-olds and would break up with them as soon as they turned 25 or whatever. If we started criticizing that, then the narrative would be like, oh my God, why do you care so much about her sex life? It's because she's a woman is why you care so much, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's okay to criticize Leo DiCaprio's sex life and stuff and put that under a microscope. But if Charlize Theron were doing the exact same thing and we were criticizing her for it, oh no, it's because she's a woman and you're obsessed with her sex life because she's a woman.
Why do these libs talk out of both sides of their mouth? I mean, look at it. She refused to acknwledge the outcomes for single moms. Pivots immediately.
Let's be clear.
Hang on.
Let's be clear.
Immediately.
No.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry. If you have progressive talking points, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, I call it a duck. So the thing is,
so she keeps insisting she's not a lib. So maybe what she means is that she's actually a progressive leftist or something. That's the only explanation I could find.
Right. The libs on the panel very clearly, right? She evades the answer, refuses to give us the answer of if outcomes for children of single moms are worse, refuses, gives us a bunch of qualifiers proving that they are, still refuses to do it. He says, well, this is so commonplace for men. Look at the sexual deviant that we have in the White House, and says, but I'm not throwing a fit about that. I'm not throwing a fit about that, though. Yeah, they did throw a fit about it.
Ineffective discussion. The scan is just over everyone. Like, he's very emotional.
It's an ineffective
right
discussion.
Now.
I would just like you to actually answer the questions I ask you. Why can't you people
Ernest,
ever do that?
I have a question for Ernest.
This is show anymore, I guess.
Ernest, you said there was. Hold on a second, guys. Ernest, you said there was a double standard. What are you, in your view, where is the double standard? Because I see a double standard here, but I think we see a different double standard.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So what I was saying was the double standard reaction, right? There is a lot of reaction because of what Charlize Theron said. I'm saying that I understand where that is coming from because we don't often see women like Charlize Theron on these platforms talking about their sexuality in this way.
But it's celebrated. Ernest, that's not true. But here's the difference. Every time, hold on a second. Every time a man says, a guy can't even say that he prefers younger women. Yeah. He can't even say, well, you know what? I prefer younger women because of their fertility is better, because they're in their peak attractiveness, because I want to have a bunch of kids and it gives me more time, without getting completely trashed.
Let's be clear. Hang on. Let's be clear. If Brad Pitt came out with an interview tomorrow on Uncensored, and I hope he does. If you're watching Brad, my show is always available to you. But if he was,
why don't you ask Sean Penn, your good friend Sean Penn and Charlize Theron, to hit up Brad Pitt for you, huh?
And he said, "Do you know what? Just only last week, I had the most unbelievable sex with a hot 26-year-old." Right? Do you think the reaction, Ernest, would have been widespread applause for this guy? Or would it have been, you dirty old man? No. I'm not saying that I feel that about Charlize Theron. I'm just saying that's the double standard, right? Leo DiCaprio gets mocked at every award show because he dates women half his age. Now it's Charlize Theron. Everyone's like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
That man would have been called a groomer.
I can give you an example where that
when a woman does it, it's empowering. It's, oh my God, this is liberating. It's empowerment. But if a man does it, it's dirty and disgusting, and we should shame him for it. Yeah, there is a double standard.
Backfired. So let me be very clear. So let me give you a good example of this, actually. First of all, it's if it's a pattern, right? Charlize Theron is not doing this on the regular. That's why this is a big news story. She's been mostly in long-term relationships. She does not have a habit of doing this. Leonardo DiCaprio's entire a lot of his romantic history has been this pattern, which has become a running joke. The first couple years he did it, no one cared. But it's been decades, like over like
Ernest,
10
that's
years.
not why it's a news story. With respect,
that's your opinion.
First of all, both of those things have been covered in the news. But the reason, what Piers is getting at, I think, I don't want to put words in his mouth. This is being celebrated. Do you understand the difference? Modern feminism has made it so that we now celebrate that Charlize Theron. And by the way, I don't give a lick, honestly. It's consensual. I don't care if she sleeps with a 26-year-old.
And by the way, there are a lot of 26-year-old men who will be absolutely thrilled that she's on the cougar market. That's correct. I mean, there will be.
And I don't care either. We can agree there. But I'm smart enough to acknowledge that she is.
Yeah, right. I mean, would they be as thrilled though? I mean, it's a 50-year-old Charlize Theron. And if she's going to be all out and about willy-nilly like this, is it really so much as is it really as much as of a prize as it was, 10, 20 years ago, before she was just sleeping with random men? That's another thing. Like, this stuff devalues women.
Being celebrated for that action, whereas
I'm not saying there's going to be guys that are going to turn her down or anything. Yeah, no, guys are going to take her up on it, definitely. But would it mean as much now as it would have 10, 20 years ago?
A Leonardo DiCaprio, or the average guy for that matter, just saying, hey, I prefer a 22-year-old to a 32-year-old, will get destroyed in every possible
you know what? I actually have no problem with what she said about a 26-year-old. That's entirely down to her. She's a single woman. She can have sex with who the hell she likes if it's consenting an adult. I do, though, have a problem with, and Andrew was, I think, right about this. In a way, what she's saying is all your quaint ideas about you need a bloke around, you need a father, you need a husband, that's all bullshit. Look at me. I'm proof it's all great. I don't believe women when they say that. I don't believe men when they say the same thing. I just think that actually the ideal is that you have a man and woman around kids and they bring them up together. And if that isn't possible and it doesn't work out, okay, you make it work. But to actually try and pretend this is actually utopia, and this is the best possible thing for your kids, I don't think that's true. And I say that as a divorcee myself. I don't think.
Hold on, guys. Wait a second here. What is this? He lights up like a neon sign at any innuendo of sex. All right. I think I'm good now. Let's go. Dude. Ugh. All right. Here we go.
This is ever actually the ideal, but you make it work as best you can. I wanted to switch gears to something which really did annoy me.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Like what Piers said is absolutely correct. It's not the fact that, oh yeah, she had sex with a 26-year-old man. No one's saying like, oh my God, let's burn her at the stake for it. But it's this bragging that, oh, okay, so her family's broken up now. Like her family's broken up. Her kids are in a situation where their parents are separated now. So it's going to be harder to be around both parents at the same time. She's going to be, now she's sleeping around with random men. She might bring a new man home and, those kids may or may not be safe with them. Who knows? And it's like, she's just showing a total disregard for her kids' needs, all because she wants to fulfill her own needs and sleep with 26-year-old men and brag about it. And that's not something we should be promoting or bragging about. That's the whole point here. We shouldn't be glorifying this. You know what I mean? And so that's what people take issues with necessarily, is that we shouldn't be promoting this or acting like this is some kind of empowerment, because it's not. It's actually a sad situation. A 50-year-old woman bragging about sleeping with random men, and her kids, two of them are, I want to remind you guys, are trans. So already the kids are already having it hard enough. But now their parents are separated. It's a sad situation, and yet they're trying to make it seem like it's some kind of female empowerment. It's bullshit.
Lily Allen, the pop star, former pop star, let's be accurate, talking about abortion.
Abortions, I've had a few. Right.
But then again, I can't remember exactly how many.
What, really?
Yeah.
Why didn't this come up in last week's episode where we were just talking about abortions?
Because I was just letting you run with it.
Reveal everything.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think maybe like, I want to say 5, 4 or 5.
Yeah, I've heard about 5 too. Lily, I'm so happy I can say that and you can say it and no one came to shoot us down.
No judgment.
No judgment. We've had about the same amount of abortions.
You know what, Taylor? I'm not going to judge them in the way they think I'm going to judge them. I'm not going to judge them for having abortions. I believe.
So how sad is that? These two women just going back and forth. Oh yeah, I've had 5 abortions. Oh yeah, same here. Isn't it cool? We could just say that. Like, imagine in any other situation like that. Like imagine if it's a fat person going like, yeah, last night I ate 5 Big Macs. Oh yeah, I also had 5 Big Macs for dinner. Yeah, it's so cool that we could just say that. It's like, no, it's not cool that you could just say that. It's actually horrible that you could just come out and say that. This is the type of stuff shaming was made for. That's not healthy behavior. And to talk about it so flippantly, again, women glorifying just wrong things in the name of some kind of fighting the patriarchy or fighting oppression. It's horrible.
Even a woman's right to choose what she does with her body.
I am.
Like, we hold men to these standards. Like, if men were to come out and be like, oh yeah, I unalived 5 babies last week, you know what I mean? Like, no one would be going like, oh, well, it's great that you could come on here and say that so openly. Like, no. But with women, it's like we normalize it and glorify it.
I know, and we'll come to Andrew's position on that. I think we know what it is, and I'll get your view. But the point is, Taylor, I'm not against abortion. I am against women that talk about it so glibly. I am against 2 women sitting there just brazenly talking in a very kind of slightly boastful way. We've had 10 abortions between us, and Lily Allen can't even remember how many abortions she's had. I don't like that aspect to what was going on there. I think it's distasteful. I think it trivializes abortion. Abortion, you know, whether you agree with it or not, you should always treat it, I think, as a serious thing, which should be taken seriously and dealt with seriously. That, to me, was trivializing it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that, I hear you, Piers, and I take your point. I think
Sorry, I didn't mean to do
I think that most women have a struggle with access to abortion, especially now here in America. And I think that normalizing the idea of having abortion is overwhelmingly a good thing.
We shouldn't normalize the idea of having 5 abortions with 2 women there basically making out, oh, thank God we can talk about this now. Like, this is normal. That's not normal to have 5 abortions.
It should be normal to have easy access to abortion. It should be.
No,
I don't dispute that, but that's a political matter. That's a social matter for the women. But it's the way you talk about.
See, this is why no one likes Taylor Lorenz. She's such a piece of shit, and she's so slimy. She can't just answer a question. Like some of these like hardcore progressive leftists, they're like, I don't like saying this, but it's kind of hard not to say it. It's like they're kind of evil people.
That's it. I think is actually, for example, in America, where it's a really hot potato issue, I can imagine everyone. I'll come to Andrew for his, what I think will be his response. I can imagine it. He'll be very angry because he doesn't agree with abortion to start with. To then see women, high-profile women like this, famous women, just talking about it in such a glib manner.
Because they want to restrict women's rights and they want to restrict women's access to healthcare. This is essential. Abortion is essential healthcare. And that's what you're saying, but it is healthcare, yes. And it's really important.
Ridiculous.
Too. It's not ridiculous. It saves women's lives in many cases to have an abortion. And it's really hard for women to get access. And they feel a lot of shame around it because of the social stigma.
Does it sound, Taylor, does it sound to you like those women feel a lot of shame around abortion? Is that what it sounds like?
The point is that many women are taught, and it sounds like you guys on this very panel want women to feel shame about it. And in fact, they should not.
You shouldn't be. Should you be proud of it? Is the point?
No, I actually think it's evil, and people are taught not to think it's evil. I think it's the reverse. People are taught, but it's not, oh, it's actually a good thing, but we're taught to think it's evil. Like, no, it's evil, and people are taught to think it's a good thing. Why are they taught to think that it's a good thing? In the name of like women's liberation and fighting oppression. Because, yeah, I guess to them it's like, oh yeah, it's women fighting the patriarchy and stuff. the patriarchy to these people is women having absolutely zero responsibility or accountability.
I mean, let me bring Andrew in here. I mean, Andrew, I know your position on abortion, but notwithstanding that, it doesn't really concern me really whether people are for or against it. It's the way they're talking about it, I find. So let's leave the argument about whether they.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
but it's totally self-centered and selfish. And look, she says, "I'm not a lib. Women need to have more abortions." The thing is, or have more access to abortions. The lies through her teeth. It's a healthcare procedure. Most women's lives, when they have abortions, has nothing to do with the life of them at all, their physical health at all. Total lies from the left. On top of that, let's just point out that what they're really doing there is they're sitting there going, I just like totally murdered 5 of my kids. And the other one's like, yeah, me too. Isn't that great, sweetheart? The other one's like, yeah, totally. That's it's so awesome that we can just kill our children. Isn't that great? And so we normal people, we normal people here. So anyway, we normal people.
It's disgusting. Saying don't murder babies is disgusting misogyny.
Hear this, like regular Joes, and of course we're disgusted by it. The fact of the matter is it just shows a complete and total lack of caring for humanity, lack of caring for children. This is supposed to be the more empathetic sex, and yet when they have power over vulnerable life, they kill it. Really? You're going to convince me that's the more empathetic, more vulnerable sex?
I just have one little.
Yeah, the way Andrew talks about it is disgusting. Not the actual act itself. It's the way Andrew talks about it. Oh, yeah. And by the way, she says that abortion is not murder. No, it absolutely is. There's a life in the womb, and you are ending that life. What is that called? The only way to get around that is if you think it's not a life. But how do you not consider it a life? It's a life growing inside of you. Just because it's very small, or it doesn't have all of the cognitive abilities or anything, the heartbeat, doesn't mean that it's not a growing life that's going to eventually have a heartbeat or have cognitive abilities and all these things.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just 2 things, right? I think that some people will feel like the way in which she went about discussing was tasteless. I think that for people listening to it, I did. I think that there's a better, in my personal taste, right? I think there could have been a better way she could have said it, but that's just my personal preference. And I think that's just how she is with a lot of things.
Yeah, notice he doesn't really condemn. He just goes, well, I just think she could have, said it better. Like, oh, I don't think she should have said it like that. But there's no condemnation saying, like with Piers Morgan, even though he's not anti-abortion, he still condemns what she said. But he can't do that because, crazy lefty.
Lily Allen, I don't agree with a lot of things that Lily Allen says or how she says it personally. And I think that's the real thing here. However, what I think is important is that everybody's getting abortions. This whole libs, far left, far right stuff. I really get annoyed with that because it's almost as if you're acting like only one, like everybody makes decisions.
Yeah, maybe that's why she's like that. Maybe she's just super constipated all the time, Tiggs Bomber.
Based on their political ideologies, and that's just so immature. And this obsession.
We can look at the reproductive.
Libs.
Yeah, we can look at the reproductive stats, and we know which political parties advocating for abortion. And which one isn't? We know which political parties advocating for it, which one's not.
I don't come with that. Like, I'm just saying, for me, this is not a libs thing or whatever. It's really just a matter of taste. And that's what
But how could it not be? How could it not be a liberal?
Completely politically charged.
All right, let Jedediah speak. Jedediah.
How could it not be? If liberals are the ones, I mean, just be honest, liberals are the ones that are promoting a pro-abortion culture. Liberals are the ones that are saying this should be celebrated. The word here, Ernest, hold on a second. The word here to be used is these women are celebrating abortions. And you see young women all over TikTok, by the way, and all over social media who are echoing these voices now. So an abortion is something, whether you believe it should be, it was supposed to be safe, legal, and rare. That was the idea when people were advocating back in the day. Pro-abortion advocates were saying safe, legal, and does this sound rare to you? Oh, every time I have sex, I just run and get an abortion like I went to the dentist.
Healthcare shouldn't be rare. Access to healthcare shouldn't be rare. Access to healthcare.
Taylor, no one's talking about access. No one. You have access to a whole bunch of things in society. That doesn't mean you utilize them. These are women that are going into
because when you stigmatize abortion, when you stigmatize,
you always have to bring up guns. It's not the same thing. Killing an innocent life inside isn't the same as using a gun for protection.
Abortion, it leads to less abortion access.
Murder? When you stigmatize murder, it leads to less murder?
Yeah, but actually, Taylor, that argument works the other way because if you trivialize it and you look like you're slightly gleeful and you're very proud of having had 5 abortions, as both of them appeared to come over, and that's just the way we can judge them from that clip. They said, don't be judgmental. Well, actually, you can be when people are apparently trivializing it in the way they were. But I think my point is that the reason Andrew is so exercised is not just because he's anti-abortion, but here's exactly what he's been saying for a long time, which is a lot of women treat it like it's just another thing, when actually it's more serious. And I agree with that. Even though I support women's rights to have an abortion, no one should be like proud or gleeful or joyful or celebratory about it. It should, I just think the tone you use to talk about it should be serious.
Can you understand how that stigmatizing, can you understand how that stigmatizing sort of framework would be used to restrict access to abortion, saying, well, you're not pious enough, you haven't repented enough, you're not sorry enough, so you don't deserve access. That is what is used to strip women's
Taylor,
right.
It should be stigmatizing. It should be stigmatizing.
Exactly. It should be. She's saying that like if it's a bad thing.
For women to talk about abortion like that. This is sick. This is your empowered women now out there saying, oh, I don't know, I had 4 abortions, 5 abortions, 6 abortions, like you went for a root canal.
You go,
I mean,
girl.
listen, this is not the face of an empowered woman. This is pathetic. It's sad. And this is the product, sorry to say, this is the product of modern feminism and what it has done to women, that now they weaponize their ability to kill, because that's my view. So I'm going to say it. They weaponize their ability to kill, and they expect society to put a big stamp of approval on it. And people like you do. I'm not doing it. I'm not condoning it. I'm not doing it. I'm calling it out. And if they feel stigmatized by their behavior, then so be it. Maybe that has more to do with their behavior, their crappy behavior, their sick, twisted behavior than it does by what I'm saying about it.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
Yeah, no, exactly. There is something that man, I totally lost it. There's something I wanted to respond to. Oh, yes, that's what it was. So the only thing I disagree with Jedediah here is that she said, oh yeah, and these women talk about it like they're just going to the dentist. I actually disagree with that. These women, it's worse because Charlize Theron, I bet she would talk more solemnly, like a sad. She would talk more sadly about going to the dentist than she did about having the abortions, you know? Like she'd probably be like, yeah, you know, I've had to get some root canals, and I've had 5 root canals in my life. Not Charlize Theron, sorry. Lily Allen, sorry, still on the Charlize Theron. But Lily Allen, you know, she would probably talk more sadly about going to the dentist and getting a root canal than she did with the abortions, you know. Oh, I've had to get 5 root canals in my life, and, you know, it sucked. It hurts. Man, isn't getting a root canal the worst? Like, she would probably talk about that more sadly and more like regrettedly than she did about the abortions. That's what's terrible about this, is that she actually talks about it worse than the dentist.
Say this real quick. Let's be real honest here. Even if you personally do not support abortion, you really think that it's a murder, there would be no way, quite frankly, that you want anyone to discuss it. So I think it's intellectually dishonest to act as though we're going to use this extreme of Lily Allen, which I do agree, right? I personally think that the way that Lily Allen discussed it was not the best way. But to be honest, for those who do not support abortion, which I do support a woman's right to choose, there would have never been a way for you to approve it. So you're using the most extreme example as a way to now double down and justify every other belief that you have on this.
That's the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We talk about murder openly all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So why are we talking about Lily Allen?
Yeah. So what? We talk about things we don't support all the time. What are you talking about?
So here's what Piers Morgan and I are understanding. So let's make common sense. Piers and I both, I assume, support a woman's right to choose. I don't know, but I think we do. We both do not agree about the taste of how Lily Allen did it. However, I think for some of you all on this episode, you're not going to ever agree with this. So stop acting like Lily Allen is an example of all women who discuss having abortions, because it's not true. You just want to use it as an example to dismiss the case of abortions, period.
Well, no one is saying that Lily Allen represents all women who've gotten an abortion. What we're saying is that it's not right that she goes on, and then the other woman, the host too, they're both talking about it so flippantly, like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. Again, they wouldn't even talk about going to the dentist that flippantly, but they're talking abortions like, oh yeah, no big deal. And that's sending a message out there to women like, no, actually, this is okay. It's okay to get abortions, you know, for whatever reason. And no, it's not okay. It should be stigmatized.
And so that's
that's so good. Oh, well, I see. Hang on. Let me respond. I see. What a genius argument. Yes, Andrew, you think that all murder and murderers are bad, so you're going to point at serial killers and say, see how bad that is? Great argument, genius.
No, what
a wonderful argument.
What's the point?
You haven't responded to his argument, so clearly it's pretty good because you have zero.
That was the argument. Do you understand? that I can take things that are happening socially, point to the worst of them, even if I don't agree with them, to use that as an example of why it's bad? Why thing bad? Thing bad because look, you can see that why thing bad. Why do you not get this?
Right now. You're crashing out right now.
I love it when libs do that when they're losing. But then the other person, like Andrew Wilson here, like he's not even getting emotional, but he's showing like a little bit of like emotion, and then she's like, "Oh, you're crashing out." That's like such a cope. Have I made a cope emoji yet? Well, I should.
An extreme example.
They never liked abortion. They never did.
This is whether you like abortion, whether you support abortion or not. We're not making up this extreme example. This extreme example exists, and we're commenting on it because there were women all over the country, by the way, that will say things like, my body, my choice, who cares? Oh, yeah. And you know what? It's escalating down to other things like Plan B. People popping Plan Bs like candy now. This stuff is not being taken seriously. Yes. And the bottom line is whether you support abortion or not, this is a serious matter. And the fact that we have women out there talking about it like a trip to the dentist, that is a problem that we need to acknowledge.
Yeah, I gotta say, I agree with that. I don't think that the way they spoke about it did them any credit at all. And I think it actually, if I was somebody who...
Again, I think they talk about the dentist worse than they do abortions. But that impression by Andrew Wilson of Taylor Lorenz, that was golden. That is spot on.
Who was against abortion, that would have really enraged me to see people who have access to free and fair abortions because they're in a country where it's fine. But they talk about it in such a glib manner. I don't like it. Let's just change gears to something else, which is just struck me as a bit odd. So I think Taylor, you said earlier that women, about Charlize Theron, women don't get paid as much as men. In fact, it's just been revealed by the Hollywood Reporter, the Hollywood Bible, that the biggest grossing movie star ever is Scarlett Johansson, which I'm told, staggering though that may seem, and I'm a bit surprised myself because I've appeared in 10 movies as myself, and those movies have grossed $2.4 billion. So I'm a little surprised I'm not in the mix myself. However, she's bigger than Tom Cruise, bigger than Stallone, bigger than Schwarzenegger, bigger than all of them. And the reason apparently is the Avengers. She's been in the whole Avengers stuff, which obviously, and Jurassic Park and other huge grossing films. But she's moaning as... Obviously, when you get an accolade like this, the person to do is to complain about it. That she's often been cast for sexist reasons. So, Andrew, I'll come to you on this. When promoting, I think Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park Rebirth movie came out this weekend. So, when I was younger, a lot of the roles I was offered or I went for had their ambitions or character arcs revolving around their own desirability or the male gaze or a male-centered story. That's less frequent, though. Something has shifted. I mean, this idea that we might go to the movies to look at beautiful people, that males may gaze at beautiful women. Is this the most shocking bombshell of the week, Andrew?
Also, it's not just that. Like, how stupid to admit that out loud. Basically, aren't you just admitting that you were a skank for money? Like, if it was really a big deal, you're like, oh, God, the male gaze, they're sexualizing me. It's all. Why would you take the role then? Yeah. Just don't take the role. But apparently, if it pays good enough, she must not mind too much about that whole male gaze thing, huh? Because when it came time for her to collect those millions of dollars based on the male gaze, she definitely took the role. So I would like her to give an explanation for that. Male gaze bad, but I like to contribute to it as much as possible for money. Aren't you just basically admitting that you're a Hollywood prostitute at that point? Like, if it's a conflict with your values, aren't you selling out for money, literally?
Well,
like,
Taylor, your eyebrows just nearly exploded, so clearly you don't agree with that.
But yeah, no, absolutely correct. Like, it's like women, they just have no accountability or responsibility. They always have to play the victim. Even millionaire Scarlett Johansson is a victim somehow because they objectified me in some of my roles. Yeah, no shit, and you probably knew that, and you still took the money. But no, it's always men's fault somehow. Evil, oppressive men wanted to pay me for these what is it, like these sexy roles.
I think it's just shocking the disgusting misogynistic way that Andrew can't help but talk about women. I mean I would say also, by the way,
a woman.
No, women generally.
A woman? No, I'm sorry. It's not a monolith. If I can critique a woman, that's not critiquing all women. You see how that works?
Critiquing all libs, the whole show.
Yeah.
All libs.
No, these libs. These libs are not all libs.
I'm not a lib. Oh my God, it's so crazy.
Oh yes, you're a lib, lady.
Everyone,
get it right. I'm a progressive leftist. What? How many times? Because notice she doesn't clarify. She doesn't go, "I'm not a lib," but she doesn't say like, "Oh, I'm a leftist" or anything like that. She just says she's not a lib. Well, she's definitely not a conservative. She's not, if she's not a liberal and she's not a conservative, she's probably not a libertarian, but I don't know, maybe. So like, what is she? She could be an anarchist. She could be a leftist. She doesn't clarify because it's probably what she really is actually much worse than just a lib.
One that doesn't
you just so happen to be liberal on every social policy, but you're not a liberal.
Liberals are hardly where I'm at on social issues. Anyway, my point is that Scarlett Johansson, Piers, I don't know that I would classify that quote as moaning. What she seems to be talking about is just how her roles have changed over time. I would note that overwhelmingly women are paid less than men, even if the highest actress might be paid as a woman. But I think that what she's saying is it's not a myth that women are paid less. I'm sorry.
Equal pay myth that we can. I mean, that's a whole separate conversation.
I think in Hollywood now it's pretty well equal pay, isn't it? If you get the big roles, I don't think.
Well, I think.
Especially if you're like a good-looking, attractive woman, like you're gonna get those higher-paying roles, even if you're not even as talented. So, like, come on.
Music. Most of the biggest stars now are currently women, aren't they? Beyonce, Taylor Swift.
Right, but
I mean,
if you
I don't know. I can't think of many industries where women are not actually paid at least more than men.
Just because there are a few very high-paid women in entertainment industries doesn't mean that women across the board make more than men. And when you look at other industries like finance or tech or some of these other,
that's because of. Listen, Taylor, this is nonsense. That's because of choices that women make. That's because of the number of hours that they work. That's because women take maternity leave. That's because guys work more hours and work harder. There's a whole bunch of reasons we can get into.
And work harder jobs too. Like she brings up all these air-conditioned desk jobs. And yeah, well, what about like the underwater pipe welders and stuff, or the coal miners, or the garbage men, or the construction workers? Like that's why men overall earn more than women. Keep in mind, I say earn, not just paid, but earn more than women because men do harder jobs. Yeah, they work more, they work harder, and they work harder jobs.
That really
we actually can adjust it for parity easily.
Can I make a comment about Scarlett though here for a second? Because I think what's interesting here is that, listen, she made all of her money being a sex symbol, right? She always had the boobs out. That's how she made her money. She made the decision to accept roles where, yes, she was, part of the male gaze. And that's how she made her fame. I find it really interesting, honestly, that she turns 40. She's older. And now all of a sudden she decides, oh, I'm going to negate all that. Could it be that maybe she's, the male gaze isn't looking at her.
The wall
in the
is
same way
undefeated.
anymore. She's not getting those roles anymore. And she's now realizing there's a younger woman on the block. There's a hotter woman on the block. Okay, I'm not getting those roles. So
and by the way, to complete
I made all my money.
To complete the conspiracy theory, is that why Charlize Theron, at the age of 50, has gone out doing podcasts talking about banging 26-year-old guys? Could that be why? Is it to make Hollywood think I'm still hot and desirable?
I've still got it.
I've still got the young male gaze.
Of course, because there is an insecurity, and women don't like to talk about this, but there is an insecurity that arises in women, particularly in a beauty-driven industry. Hollywood is all about looks. It's all about the female gaze, the male gaze. You see,
it's misogyny that puts that pressure on women.
See, it's always misogyny. It's always misogyny that does this. When they can't think of any good reasons, they just blame misogyny.
not hatred of women. Taylor, do you know what misogyny means? It means hatred of women. It is not hatred of women to talk about the reality that women, I'm a woman, I'm not a misogynist. Women get more insecure as they age about their looks when they're in a beauty-driven industry. That's why Botox exists. That's why filler exists.
Well, let me go to the expert on the panel when it comes to male gazes at beautiful women. Ernest, your thoughts on this?
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, if you want to talk about the male gaze, what better male gay to go to than this guy?
No, I mean, to be honest, I think that two things can be true at the same time. You know, people have the right to evolve and also see things reflectively. What you do in your young age, I mean, heaven forbids, I mean, you all claim that you all don't support cancel culture, but you know, a lot of you all would make the case that maybe she did at one point in time when she was younger, may have thought that's what she needed to do and that's how she got her career. But maybe years later she can get older and reflect and say, hey, some of the stuff I did back then.
And by the way, Ernest, it's the same. It's the same with men, right? I mean, it's the same with male movie stars when they cross a point where the female gaze moves from them to a younger, hotter model. It's exactly the same the other way around. You look at it all the time. Look at the hot movie male stars of 20 years ago. They're not there anymore.
Right, but the difference is, though, with those roles, that's actually not true all the way. A lot of these older men do get to evolve and date younger women. What we don't see that much in Hollywood.
No, I mean female moviegoers going to see male movie stars. The reason they go moves from the female gaze at a hot young movie star to something different when they get older, right? So it's in other words, it works the same way.
But that's not the same, though. They can get a range. But I think that happened with Scarlett Johansson, a lot of these actresses, is that what you'll see with men is that they can do both. They can do the Oscar-winning Leonardo DiCaprio films. They can also do the sex symbol films. They can also do it simultaneously and still get the awards. Versus what we see with women in Hollywood, it seems to be a double standard where prestige films that they can be in and star in, oftentimes they don't get the chance to be the ingenue or play into the sex role. But if they do go that way, they can't have both ways. So Denzel can be both. But Scarlett Johansson couldn't do both most of that.
Okay, what's it called? Charlize Theron herself, she she was like a young sex symbol, but then she was also she would go for the Oscar nominated roles. Like, remember when she played the serial killer lady? I forgot her name. But women could do it both too. I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about.
Why? Okay, but why would you complain then? Why would you complain and say, oh, the male gaze is so terrible, and then take the role as a woman? Why would you take the role if the male gaze is such a problem for money?
She should just own it.
Hang on. Let him answer the question. Why is it that if you really saw this as a problem from a feminist view, the male gaze, as a female actress who's aspiring, why would you take the role? Aren't you just selling out for money, dude?
I mean, I'm not a woman, so I'm not the one taking the role, but I'm saying something like I'm saying before.
See how they don't answer any questions? They just refuse.
No, I'm answering your question. Did you not let me finish? I'm answering your question. What I'm saying is that you, at the end of the day, it's none of these things, like even the way that people vote for certain elected officials, it's never one size fit all. She has survival. She wanted to get her career. She wanted to do certain things. Does she have regrets? I don't know. But what I will say is that there's a lot of factors that people do when they make their decisions, right? There's certain people where you don't agree with everything on all aspects, but you do some. And I think at a certain point,
Ernest, I hear what you're saying, Ernest. It just seems a little convenient, though. It just seems a little convenient to make all of your money off of being a sex symbol and an overt sex symbol. I mean, half naked, this, that. You make all your money that way. You should own it. She should be coming out and saying,
I totally agree. I think I think that.
No, yeah. I mean, why not own it? I mean, but like, she doesn't want to do that. She wants to have it both. She wants to, be the millionaire movie star and also be a victim as well and blame everything on patriarchy and evil male misogyny. It's just utterly ridiculous. Like, who's going to feel sorry for this woman? But it's also because these women, they can't take personal responsibility. No one forced her to take these roles. There have been women that have turned down sex roles or even just walked away from Hollywood because they realized that Hollywood is a degenerate, seedy, horrible place. They completely walk away from it. But Scarlett Johansson didn't. She kept on doing it, And so why not just, like they said, own it? But now she's like trying to blame it, take away any personal responsibility that she has and just blame it on the evil men. You know, it's men's fault that I took these roles. It's men's fault that I got paid to be a sex symbol. It's utterly ridiculous. But again, you know, these people like Taylor Lorenz and Ernest over here, you know, who I call Titus Andromedon, they always want to excuse women and take away any responsibility from women and minorities and gays and all these things. You know, they could do nothing wrong. So good job on Jedediah and Andrew Wilson here. And even, you know, Piers Morgan made some good points too. What did you guys think about this though? Sound off in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you liked it. And if you really liked it, please consider subscribing to my channel. I got more Andrew Wilson. I got more Piers Morgan. And I even got some more Taylor Lorenz looking like an idiot for your enjoyment. So yeah, subscribe. And also tune into the Cool Stream Live Mondays through Fridays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern.